Welcome, Galactic Ambassadors and Open Contact Specialists. If you're new to our channel, Open Contact TV, thanks for being with us in this now moment. I'm Wendy. This is my husband, Dave. And this is one of these things I want to do more often, is take this now moment as it was happening to share just to share a quick synchronicity with you guys and talk a little bit more about open contact in our dream states and validating what we know and what we hear in our hearts and our heads. Um, this is a very exciting year for all of us, and for Dave and I especially, because we've really been very excited about the idea of open contact.
And part of the excitement is acting upon your excitement and sharing the information that you receive,
Exactly.
regardless of how it happens. It might be through watching a video and you get some inspiration of ideas. It could be from when you're dreaming. It could be when you're meditating. It could be an experience that you have in more of a awake state, as we use the term awake just to mean not sleeping
Even though
in your
this is
dreams.
not the awake
But
state.
as you understand a little bit more how things work, there's really no big difference. An experience is an experience, regardless of how you may come by that experience. So every experience is equally as valid and equally as useful. And in this time approaching open contact and being in open contact, the sharing of all that information is really how we accelerate the process. And today is October 31st,
Yes,
Halloween.
as we record this.
And we would like to talk about that for a few minutes. And then we're going to share some dreams and meditations and experiences that we've had that relate to open contact.
Well, and quite simply, it is where, when we focus on something and we put our vibrational energy towards something, and of course, now we're going to see by reflection more and more of that in our, in our reality. I mean, that is how it works. This is a reflective universe. And so one of the things that we realized today, too, was the energy of today, October 31st and November 1st and November 2nd, it really is the remembrance of Atlantis. Halloween, All Hallows Eve, was the day of the Saints Day, All Saints Day, and All Souls Day. Uh, Actually, that's reversed. Are the remembrance of Atlantis, and now Halloween has turned into a different representation of that idea. So that's just part of what kind of prompted this energy too, because a lot of us are going to be experiencing like maybe remembrances of that time.
And it's specifically the remembrances of the destruction of the Atlantis civilization. And in other words, the ending of that period, and also the beginning of a new period where we get to sort of revisit it all again, and this time choose a more positive perspective on all the things that are happening uh, that come up for not only Atlantis but a number of other plays that have been in from a soul level we've participated in, and this time we get to transform those ideas into more positive and preferred ideas. And uh, the idea of Halloween really stemmed from that idea, which also we're offered the idea that all of the Noah's Ark and flood stories are really a result of an asteroid that, uh, after many years of having smaller strikes throughout the Atlantic Ocean,
And they knew
areas,
every year when it was
yes.
going to come, and that's part of what
So
what's going on now too.
this was the sort of final blow of the large asteroid. And of course, as we know, it manifested physically as an asteroid, but that was also a reflective consequence of the energies that were being put
Excellent
out
point.
at the time.
Excellent point.
So while we might all have, and everyone watching here might have experiences of, I'm looking out in the sky.
I was gonna switch. So
I don't know if you can see, but
we're on
a
our
whole bunch of leaves, sort of
all in
lost-
a just a
lost
whole
over.
yeah. So so you can see our view from our front porch.
So a lot of people that are now connecting more to Atlantis, as well as other things like Mars and um, a couple other uh, civilizations that we all participated in. With Atlantis, we all may remember participating in negative kind of activities. Some of us might have been the negative perpetrators of these things. Some of us might have been like priests and priestesses.
I was just gonna say that
in that
for
time.
me that was, I know that's what I was then. I was a seer. I was the priestess. I was also singing and speaking in light language, if that's what you want to call it, in tones.
So all of these things and all of these experiences that we're connecting to now, which are happening now because there is only now, we're connecting to these things. This is an opportunity to really think about those things, transform them into a positive, which of course, the easiest way to do that is to just think, well, now we have another go around of the cycle, and this time we're not going to take the more separative approach, and we're going to move toward a new positive way of moving our society forward. So that's a positive thing, and that in itself transforms the whole idea of how we use these negative events, or as we perceive them to be negative, as a positive
Because
thing.
they are a reflection. They're not a cause. They're the reflection of our human collective consciousness.
And as we do this, it also changes the history, so to speak. So the history aligns more in line with the new positive experience that we want to have now. And the idea, and I just wanted to mention quickly, the idea of how an asteroid hit the Earth, which destroyed Atlantis, caused great flooding, tsunamis, and so forth.
All over the world.
This year, and I'm not really sure if it's unique to this year, but this year there are 3 or 4 cometary events occurring simultaneously.
And many of
during
these
this
are
time
recurring
today.
events, which is what
Yes,
happened.
and we know that they recur, and of course because just the orbits of the planets and where the asteroids are, but some of these asteroids are remnants of the asteroid that hit Earth, or pieces that broke off of the asteroid that did not hit Earth. But if I could bring up on my phone just the list of ones, and they're also sort of interesting what they're called. So
And I want to say too, if you're never heard the story from Bashar, or you're not even sure who Bashar is, what we're talking about, Bashar is the Sassani entity channeled by Daryl Anka, which is so if you just, all you have to do is Google it, Bashar and Atlantis, and you'll be able to find a lot of information about it.
And so there are three meteor showers occurring. Some have already started and we're at the tail end of it, but there are three active right now. One's called the Orionids. Oddly enough,
Mm-hmm.
the Orion story is one of those stories that we're replaying and transforming. Uh, and as it is explained, souls that participated in the Orion uh, civilization are now here revisiting a lot of those themes and ideas to transform those ideas as well. The southern Taurids and the northern Taurids, which that I believe the Taurid asteroid was the thing that hit Atlantis. I'm not positive, but both of those are occurring, and they're occurring together at the same time. Uh, the northern Taurids come a little bit later in next week, but they're all sort of happening all,
so there's a
all
lot
at the
of
same
this
time.
cometary energy.
And the Leonids.
Yes, the
which
Leonids, which
probably
is always
everyone,
yes.
a lot of people have heard of the Leonids.
Yes.
That's active from November 3rd to December 2nd. It peaks more toward the end of November, but four of these are happening all at once. So we're having a convergence of all of these ideas playing out, and that's sort of reflecting the idea that we now as a society, there's a convergence occurring in that way to finally
just move through all this
all
now. Yes, exactly. And I've been really feeling it, like, deeply. All of the stuff, all of the belief systems, because I want to accelerate my own process, but while also appreciating my process. And when I say accelerate my process, sometimes I don't even know if I even know what I mean, other than I am so excited about the idea of open contact that I want to, like, get through my junk so that I am a frequency sooner. And this is all time, we create time. Yes, I know. In my experience, it's like 2024 to me and to us is literally, this is the beginning of open contact. And then there's the whole idea that it's already been going on forever. And then once you start to learn the stories of Atlantis and Lemuria, and again, learning what our what our actual past is, which will be revealed to us in the coming years.
Yeah, and Bashar also has recently said that there will be extraterrestrial spaceships openly coming to Earth within 5 years or less. And you can buy into the idea of the things that Bashar and other channelers say, other intuits, or you don't have to. But if you're excited about that idea, that means that idea is something that you would like to participate in. And it's really just a choice. Choose to buy into it. Choose to buy into the idea that open contact is happened. It's happening. We're participating in the more open version of that, and that's all you need to do. And by following the formula, following your excitement, that will show you the steps that you need to take individually to accelerate that idea as well. So, like I had said when we started, we want to share a couple of our uh, visions and experiences that we've had as they directly relate to open contact. And I'm going to start because those of you who have watched the recent Bashar
We're talking,
transmissions.
which is we're referring to the Sedona 2024 event that he just did.
So I have had a dream uh, hmm, within the last couple of years. It wasn't recent, but I have had a dream where a bunch of us knew that spaceships were coming. And sort of like how in the movie Close Encounters, uh, people were sort of just naturally drawn to going to certain locations. And in my dream, there were people that were showing up and oddly intense. They brought tents and they brought provisions.
Not
and,
intense, intense. Yes.
yeah, TENTS. They brought. They came in RVs and started a gathering in where I was and where Wendy and I were. It was this big open field, and I would say within the day that we arrived, numerous ships appeared, came, and they didn't land, but you could see lots of them in the sky, and they all went off to different places, except one stayed and sort of hovered over our area. And there wasn't interaction past that, and Bashar specifically talked about the idea that ships would come offshore close enough to the shore.
And his dream was before we saw the
Yes,
event.
it was a
and we've
long
only
time
watched
ago.
the first half, so we're really
Yeah.
excited.
So, so these ships just stayed there for long periods of time, and he did not say, but more than a couple hours, more than a couple days, I believe, because the idea was to give everyone a chance in the surrounding areas to come and see them, and to participate in the event. And even though there might not be an ET interaction other than the ship being there, being obvious, obviously there might be helicopters flying around to see what's going on and to assess the situation, perhaps to make it look to the public viewing it that
that we didn't know they were already here.
Well, but also to reduce the anxiety that people may have.
Yes.
Because when that happens and it's on TV and people could walk out of their house and drive, maybe 20 minutes to go see the spaceship, it's going to change everything. And one of the things that Bashar specifically talks about as part of the open contact protocols are to get used to the idea of that being the norm, and how would that affect your life, and what are the things that would transform in your life, and think about how to come up with positive ideas that would stem from these things happening. And of course, once there's interaction, there will be sharing of information and ideas, but even just the knowledge, without any question, globally, that our relatives are here and they're now here to visit with us. What does that mean? What does that do? How does that change your life? How does that change your daily routine? The job that you might have, how does that change your relationship with that job? Is that the event that makes you decide, I don't want to do this.
What's really important to me?
What is within me that I want to bring out and share with the world, that's now more in line with the idea that we're now a global Earth civilization and not little countries or little towns and little cities. We're Earth.
And this is something I've been saying as long as I've been on YouTube. I've always said I see our Earth as borderless. If we have a flag at all, it's one flag, Earth.
So, do you want to take a turn at sharing one of your?
Well, a couple of the things, and I'm going to switch this just from. So Dave and I, when we sit here every morning and have our coffee, weather permitting, of course, we literally sit and say, okay, what would it feel like right now if they were right there, just right there, and we're having our coffee and they're just sitting there letting us know in the sky right here that they're there. And how would that make me feel, and what would come up, and how would I express myself? What would change in my life? And of course, for me, knowing that it's something I've been excited about all my life, that I know I'm a hybrid mother. We know we have hybrid children. So our excitement about that, I believe will lessen my fears, but I also realize that there's a lot of things that will come up, which is why they're sort of like at arm's length for right now. Couple of the things that Dave said too, when we're talking about following our highest excitement and just letting things unfold. I think we always complicate that. One of the things that Dave and I do, we're outside a lot. And we've talked about this a lot because it's important. And that of it in of itself is very activating. I have to also say that for Dave and I, in our own personal evolution, we both speak light languages, and I've been sharing that for almost 10 years. That's part of my highest excitement. That has helped me unfold a lot for myself and my own connections. We've been reading. Obviously, we watch Bashar a lot. We've also been reading Alan and listening to Alan interactions on YouTube. We have the book. Dave and I read it typically every morning with our coffee. We're actually almost done with the book. And I don't remember the name of the next one, which I was going to have you look up. There's another book coming out tomorrow with Alan. More and more channelings. So Elon from sassani, the planet sassani. But so all of those things and following our highest joy and excitement, also that's how these things lead to that too. We also have a tent in the backyard. We like sleeping outside at night. I think that for us is a permission slip to help us feel more connected. I know a lot of people do the CE5 stuff. Of course, you're outside. You're looking at the stars. Dave and I sit outside pretty much as all day as we can, and also as his work permits to him to be, because he works remotely, to be outside. Another thing we manifested by following our highest joy, because we feel that's important. So given all of that, following our highest joy with those things obviously is going to, well, I don't want to say obviously, but energetically it activates these things within us and in our dream states. So I believe it was yesterday, I woke up and I had felt that I was doing a lot of interesting things in my dream state. I can't even remember if I even remember what I was doing, and all of a sudden I hear a voice. It's like because I ask, okay, what was I doing last night? And I literally hear in the voice of Elon, but I also understand, that's also how my higher self presents it to me in that voice. But it literally said, you were working with us, you were working with the sassani, and you were working with other open contact specialists, and
social engineering.
But that came a little later because I said to Dave too, I said, and I think I was working with the social engineers and Anima and others, and
we also heard Bashar talk about that just yesterday in something that we saw, where the idea of social engineering,
well, that's
really
how it came up.
Planetary management.
Yes, and so that was sort of when I had heard those words that, oh, you were working with the social engineers, and that you've been doing that on a more regular basis now. And I will say also are working with not just Bashar, but Bashar's father on another level of this whole idea of moving forward with open contact. And as soon as I said it, um, there was something though that confirmed yesterday morning.
Well, because I had a dream
Oh, that's what it
that
was.
was similar, and when I mentioned my dream, that's when
That's when I said, "Oh, wait a minute."
yeah
That's what I
that
was.
that
That's what
when
I.
we were both dreaming
We were
the
both dreaming.
same
We were working with the sassani,
thing.
and so it was like, oh my gosh, that was such a confirmation in that moment that I was like, wait a minute, you just confirmed that that's what we were doing and working with, and
And it's pretty awesome with the confirmations that we have. So Wendy might be, you know, sort of receiving some information while she's just sitting there thinking about, you know, what she was dreaming about, and I would just say, "Oh, and this is what I dreamt about," and
yes,
it's like, you know,
because I hadn't even mentioned it.
moments after she already heard it, what you know,
And I was like, oh my God, I just heard Elon saying to me, we were working with them and we were working with the other open contact specialists and first contact specialists. And,
and a lot of times, you know, especially with dreams, a lot of things are symbolic. A lot of things
yes,
are, you know, metaphors or very general. But, you know, yesterday specifically, there are very, very specific things that I
yeah,
had mentioned,
yes. And then
which
I was like,
were sometimes word for word the information that Wendy was receiving as she
I mean, it
was
was like
asking about more
simultaneous.
specifics.
And that's how tuning forks work too, you know.
Yeah.
And then I told Dave, I said,
And then we saw the Bashar thing
and then I was
talking
like,
about
oh my God, I said, I was working with the social engineers. I said, I'm hearing it. I was also working with several of the social engineers. And then a little while later, it was either a video or a meme that I saw. And it was like, it was her. It was Anima. And she was, and they were, and Bashar was, it was a Bashar quote talking about Anima and the planet. But it was one I'd never seen before about that, what you said. Planetary management. Planetary management. And I was like, oh my God,
so
I have to share this with everybody because.
so Anima is uh, one of Bashar's
He says his counterpart.
He had these are from pretty old Bashar videos or audios that we've listened to that Anima is his counterpart, but we could just say you know a friend that he works with, that she is a social engineer, and uh, Bashar describes now the idea that after the first contact specialist and the open contact things start to happen, the next phase would be assistance with social engineering, which really means, you know, how do we transform our society in a way that is thinking about things more globally, but also galactically, intergalactically, spatial, you know, outside of just the planet, because we're going to be meeting beings that come from other planets. We're going to be meeting beings that uh, many of which are going to be basically human relatives. Uh, they might not have been born on Earth, but they share our DNA in many respects. They might have lived on Earth at some period of time in the past, and then that come from somewhere, lived on Earth, left. All kinds of different combinations of things, but also completely different kind of alien species that we're not, you know, we might see representatives of in movies, but you know, not the typical human form, and we need to understand how to interact in those ways, to interact uh, in vibrations that are in alignment with the higher vibration of all these civilizations. So, uh,
I'm like getting all these downloads the whole time you're talking. I'm getting all this
so
downloads.
this is part of the next phase of okay, now there are extraterrestrials here. There's higher technology that's here. The things that we need to move forward will be shared with us. We will then be excited to participate in growing our own technologies because every civilization has their own technologies that they've come up with. Uh, they might have been inspired by other ideas, but certainly we have things to offer them in some way, shape, or form because there's always the other side of the coin. So if we're excited to, you know, create different devices, so to speak, uh, maybe energy,
Oh, that was
vibrational,
another dream I had the other night.
sound devices, you know, they already exist in some way out there, out there, but it's really in
I
here.
had a dream that when you said devices, it reminded me. I think it was the night before last that I had a dream, and I told Dave. I said I don't really know how to explain it. I said, but all of us had these little boxes. They were about the size of a tissue box, and when I woke up and I was asking, what was I doing? What was that? They said they were communication devices, so that the beings that I was interacting with in my dream, that we could communicate with each other, um, because they were not really telepathic. So for whatever reason, that box was necessary for us to communicate with each other.
So uh, if you're watching this, you probably fall in the category of having your own psychic abilities, having some telepathy and telepathic capabilities. But collectively, even though everyone can, nobody's, you know, off. Most people are not there yet. And so those of you who are will be able to help assist those who aren't. We'll be able to assist with communicating to these newer extraterrestrial species. We'll be able to participate in uh, helping with technologies that might be needed. And there's lots of extraterrestrial
Ooh.
civilizations that are not particularly telepathic. They've just chosen not to go that way yet,
Or
and
at all.
or at all, and so they communicate however they communicate. It may not be through sound. It could be through, you know, sort of like sign language or whatever it might be. So all of these things are, you know, exciting. You know, if you're watching this, one of these things I'm mentioning might be exciting to you to say, oh, you know, that's pretty exciting to, you know, I've loved drumming, for instance, and now percussion and vibration of percussion is the way of communication that might be coming up as one of the things that we are going to be using in this new world where we're participating
Sort
in.
of a remembering, because we've been using the drums, of course, in our civilization for probably as long as we've been.
So, you know, thinking that an extraterrestrial might just feel the vibrations and communicate in that way, as opposed to
Yes.
specifically hearing it or even telepathy. That is, you know, probably pretty exciting to somebody listening to this. It's exciting to me, and I'm not thinking I'm going to develop it, but just
You
talking
know,
about these things opens the door
yes,
to
I was just
to
going to say that.
streams of information that are going to
'Cause
flow to the people who need to hear it.
and that's what's happening to me right now, you guys. When we're doing this, and I often will let my logical brain tell me why it's just not important to do a video, why all of whatever. So, but as I'm sitting here, I am getting streams and streams and streams of information. The Pleiadians, they're like right here. You know, we're going to be the first to come in contact with you. So if this excites you, this idea, simply invite us into your world. Invite us into your dream states if that's easier for you. Invite us into your reality. That's all you have to do. Because what's going to happen is we're going to start talking to you through images, signs, creative bursts of creative things that you didn't even never even thought of before or were afraid to do before. We're going to start visiting you as long as you're opening your front door to allow us to come and visit in your home and in your normal daily activities, because these are the things that are going to be a part of all of our reality, is doing these things together, the everyday things, and how we will be working together more to more holistically, as Dave mentioned earlier, do these things in a way that are more harmonious with your core, true core vibration. Um,
Now, a lot of times you might think, well, you know, what do we have to offer the extraterrestrials? You know,
Everything.
there's things that you know we're looking to do. We're looking for help with, you know, free energy and uh, better ways to manage our planet with uh, food and living and addressing things weather-wise and so forth. So there's lots of things that we would like help with. But what do we have to offer them? And I would say that perhaps without exception, but for the most part, every single person that is having this Earth experience is having their master's program. They're in the master's program.
Absolutely.
They're not newbies to Earth, which also means they're not newbies to all the other parallel realities of other extraterrestrials and other places and other planets and solar systems and universes. We are directly connected to such a vast amount of experience and knowledge that, and in this time, we're able to connect to those things by simply being excited about it. And that's a little unusual in the scope of the extraterrestrial civilizations having that ability. Uh, we're not as specialized in a specific uh, point of view on different things. We've got such a humongous, vast conglomeration of point of views, opinions, ideas here on Earth. That's the value that we bring. That every individual has their own opinion, has their own feelings about it, has their own intuitive ideas, has their own connections, and bringing that all together with also having the human physical experience, which in having a physical experience, looking out into the cosmos, all of that is something that could be offered to the rest of the cosmos having a physical experience. We might not be aware of it quite yet, of all the different things and details, but we have the ability to connect to all of these things and to offer things, even, you know, Pleiadians as being the first to come visit us. We have things to offer them. We meet with the Pleiadians and we talk about,
We're here.
you know, we
are
talk
here.
about just free energy, for example, because that's an obvious topic. So the Pleiadians talk to us about how they produce their energy. And those of us who are first contact specialists, we're not here for the first time. We're not experiencing these kinds of things for the first time. We're not newbies. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. we're going to hear what the Pleiadians have to say, and we're going to say, wow, that sounds great. But what if we add this? And what if we change this a little bit? And what if we adjust the frequencies to, you know, uh, be a little closer to the Earth's natural harmonics? And all of a sudden, the Pleiadian technology with our ideas is going to be a better technology, at least for us, than just the Pleiadian technology alone. And these things are going to so rapidly accelerate. I mean, even if you think about our own electronics and our own technologies, in the last 30 years, they have accelerated so quickly that it's almost, you know, if you want to buy a new cell phone, by the time you decide which one you want, there's a new one out already that's twice as good. That's the way things are going to accelerate. And it, you know, even the smallest little thing that we talk about is so exciting to me anyway. I don't know how it is for you, but if you're excited at all any of these things, just start thinking about it, and you're opening doors left and right, to not only your own acceleration and expansion, but collectively. And collectively means as far away as you could imagine, galaxies and universes, and everybody's watching. Everybody wants to know what we're going to do next. What do you think?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a whole nother conversation with the Pleiadians.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a whole nother. I was listening to all the things that they were saying while you were talking.
And the Pleiadians are really just a small drop in the bucket.
We beg your pardon?
Mm-hmm. Well, if you want to think of things in a more expansive way,
Well,
and
simply ask yourselves, what value does the bird you're looking at have?
What
What value
is of equal
is
value.
that? What value are you exchanging there? So when humans ask, what do we have to offer to you? Just the experience, just the connection. There doesn't need to be any more than that. It's, you know, what is the sky and your experience with the sky? What value is that? Or looking at a flower. It's all sacred.
And we were talking about the other day too about the idea that from a spiritual point of view, how, you know, we're really just a ball of energy, and how connecting in these ways, and even with the Pleiadians coming to visit and share, and even if it's just telepathically, that sharing lights up more of everyone involved. It opens up pathways to everyone involved. The light shines brighter.
That
And
was my first channeling. Really was that of the Elohim, and that was really the first things that they said to me was, the light within you illuminates the light within me, us, and the light within us illuminates the light within you, and together, brighter we illuminate the light of all that is. And that was a pretty profound thing to hear for me for the first time in channeling that idea, and the Elohim and the emissaries of the Light Collective, and as they began to explain who they were, and my connection, our connection to each other, and kind of like what my theme was here, and this is all part of my theme. is very exciting to us. And as we listen to the first, sorry, I keep switching back and forth because I keep hearing a lot of things. And so there's a lot of, I say like this because it feels like there's a lot of different energies, right before us that are participating in this conversation. So,
we want to meet all of us,
yeah, that's a good way. A good way
and
to put
all
it.
and everything is contained within all of us. And if we met all of us all at the same time, it would not be as exciting, I don't think, because it would be overwhelming.
It would be overwhelming.
And we want and so, even in the awakening process, we connect with Egyptian counterparts, let's just say. We connect with Atlantean counterparts. We connect with Pleiadian counterparts. We connect with future versions of ourselves, and let's just say a sassani counterparts, and Yael counterparts, and a couple things that I'm not going to specifically mention at this moment. And slowly but surely, they're just versions of us, more of us. Even if it's just at a higher level, we're by becoming more and more of who we are, we're connecting with all of these things. We're experiencing them. We're integrating them, and the excitement is doing so in a linear way, of which we could really acknowledge and appreciate each of these in their own individual way, to give them the honor that we bestow upon the experience in a way that we could maximize. And just like it said, you aren't going to get the thing that you want until you're most ready for it, because the idea is at only a slightly higher level, you want to have it when you could appreciate it the most. And sometimes you have to lose one thing so you could appreciate the other side of the coin even more. This is how we look at the open contact experience. And if thousands of ships of different types all landed at the same time, it would be overwhelming. And who do you talk to first?
Well, that's exactly how I feel right now.
Well, so I'll give you a really funny example. We went to a wine festival for the first time in Alabama, and there weren't a lot of people there, and there weren't a lot of vineyards represented there, but there were 6 or so vineyards. And you walk in, and you're like, who do we go to first? We want to, we want to talk about all the interesting things involved with grapes and wine and everything. Who do you talk to first? You got to decide. That's 6. So you sort of just pick whoever's closest, or whatever sort of the flow leads you to. But that's how it would be if we just met everyone all at once. It would be too much, and we wouldn't get out of it the maximum experience that we want to have. So I'm pretty excited to meet the Pleiadians in a physical way, in our physical experience, and everything else that comes along with that.
I literally see the visions, and again, you guys, if you can't imagine something you're not already the vibration of. So as I'm literally understanding how I'm participating in multiple conversations all at the same time as my higher self. Like, I can literally feel that when we're talking, and I can hear everything Dave's saying. I understand everything he's saying, and yet at the exact same time, I feel like I'm communicating with all of these beings that are here, and then also visualizing, again, just as you were talking about meeting them and not wanting to meet them all at once, I see myself literally having like this deep conversation one-on-one with this one individual Pleiadian, and we're having the most extraordinary exchange. Like it's very emotional when I sit and think about that is a possibility, not a possibility, that is what is going to occur in my world, because that's the version of reality I want. And as we're sitting here talking, it's like I want to look at you and go, you're the Pleiadian that I'm talking to, and we're having this incredible exchange, and it's like telling each other's story without having to talk and talk and talk. It's like you get to just have this beautiful exchange on whatever level that you want. And yes, it can be physical, it can be, your voice. And yet also I'm reminded too that the things that we're doing creatively, whether it's on the computer or whether it's drawing or painting or any excitement whatsoever, cooking, cleaning, lawn work, whatever, we're in participation because they're excited to understand our world. And that feeling of just going into meditation, even just for a minute or two, and just think about what that would feel like to sit and look at someone that is not from here, to not from this planet, and the things that we have to learn from each other. I think about it all the time, and that excitement, that vibration, is such an open, loving feeling that I can't even imagine. It's like I can imagine, but it's like so much closer to that full love, that whole love. And I'm not even sure why, but it is. I don't want to say.
So, what kind of things would you like to share?
Much longer
let us know
video.
In the comments. Let us know if you want to, if you want to be open about them and would like a avenue to explore these things and make a video with us. Could be live, could be private.
And I'm glad that you said that, because we've got Zoom, and if you ever wanted to just talk, you want to do a video with us like this and talk about your experience, and put it on YouTube for all to see. We haven't been live as much as we've been wanting to, just because of our schedules.
This is Open Contact Television, a vision version of telepathy.
Oh, I like that. And I do. I really feel like literally they're connected.
Visionary.
They're connected here to this, literally this channel, that channel, this channel. Yeah. I say because there's so much going on in that finding the vocabulary is sometimes I don't have the word, and then I just go
Well, apparently there's more to share and more to come. And more to
every single thing
down.
that Bashar said in the first half of that Sedona event, I resonated with every word, and I'm very excited to watch the other half, and excited to exude that energy and that any information that we learn and absorb and extend to all of you.
Well, thanks for watching.
And our website link is below. In order to get, if you want to hang out with us, just go to opencontacttv.com, which will also take you to languageslights.com, so you can, schedule time with us.
And on that website is a place where you can vote for Open Contact.
Yes, on Open Contact TV. It's nothing but a vote for Open Contact. That's it. No, we're not taking anybody's information or email addresses or nothing. You just say, yes, I'm energetically voting for Open Contact. And I also was reminded by our Syrian guides that the Syrian sacred circuitry symbol for each day, when you add up the date, is posted on my languagesoflights.com website, where it tells about my story with the channeling and light languages and all of that, how to have private sessions, how to connect with us, connect with me. And but there's every day there's the sacred circuit from Sirius brought to us through Bashar, from the Yael, from Syrians, and then beyond. That symbol is there on my website every day for today's corresponding date. And so once again, I'm being invited to invite all of you to look at those symbols, see what the symbol is for today, and see how, just looking at it, you don't have to gaze at it long, couple seconds, couple minutes if you like, a little bit longer, and let it go and see what happens. See what synchronicities come up, and see what dreams come up, and what comes up in your meditation.
So what are you doing to follow your highest joy and excitement? What are you doing? Go do it now. Go do it now. Go right now. Do it. Stop watching this. Go do it. We'll see you soon. Love you.
Shivai. Nyato Gesiata.